Okay. How's it going, everybody? I'm the big guy. I am the one and only, the only one that's ever been, the only one that ever will be, which means I am the one and only Jake Kilby. I'm actually joined by a special guest today, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Forrester.
Woo-hoo!
We got a special episode. This is actually Super Bowl Sunday. I am down here with my buddy at his house having a couple good drinks, enjoying life. We'll actually be going into a Wrestlemania review, even though it's a little early for it. Usually I would be doing an Elimination Chamber review. That still will come out Tuesday, and I will be reviewing this episode of SmackDown as well on Tuesday. But I also have Monday Night Raw review for them. But for right now, let's go into the news of the week, Michael, which I will cover since you are an old school wrestling fan. During an appearance of Pat McAfee's podcast, Seth Rollins named an AEW wrestler as one of his top 4 ever, which was Daniel Bryan. He clearly has great respect for him. Michael, I don't know if you know who Daniel Bryan is.
I know Daniel Bryan very well.
So he is now wrestling in AEW, which is the other company across from WWE, and he has since signed a new contract with them. After leaving WWE, letting his contract expire, and Seth Rollins, one of the top wrestlers for WWE, has named him in his top 4 of all time, along with Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and Bret the Hitman Hart. So he has named all 4 of them in there. It's a great little thing for Daniel Bryan, to be named with that company.
It is, but I'm not sure I agree with it.
I don't either. I don't put him up there as well, but there's still a lot to be desired from Daniel Bryan, but he's having a great run in AEW right now. For those of you who don't know, he's actually turned heel and is actually wrestling for the AEW World Championship. So he's having a great run in the company. And WWE has also achieved, they are wrestling in Saudi Arabia this weekend, Michael. They will be wrestling in Saudi Arabia for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which will be taking place.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and actually WWE has made some great milestones in actually letting women basically be the forefront of the show on the billboards and everything.
In Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia, which I never thought I would see happen. I never thought WWE... By the way, if you hear a little background noise in the background, it's because we're actually with people. We have my father, my stepmother, Michael's wife, Lori, and a couple dogs in the background. So if you hear any background noise, that's what it is. This is actually the first really time I've ever had guests on here. We'll see if it sticks.
And well, my wife likes to bark a lot.
We need the hookers to stay quiet, please.
Yeah, we need to blow.
Hookers and blow. There's nothing better.
So I'm not going to sell this podcast to ESPN like I hoped,
No,
right?
that's politically incorrect.
I'm not going to sell it to ESPN like I thought I was.
Not this one.
Anyway, so WWE has actually made billboards in Saudi Arabia featuring Becky Lynch and Lita, who is coming back to wrestle one last match.
Wow.
So they are actually billboarding for the main event. It's amazing that WWE is able to pull this off with women in Saudi Arabia.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And finally, in the last little piece of news, Rob Van Dam has actually talked about, he's talking about how he loved the original Iron Sheik character and what it was different from wrestling in New Japan to WWE of how he had different characters in WWE and New Japan, because WWE wouldn't let him do such things, while New Japan would. If you remember Rob Van Dam at all.
I remember Rob Van Dam. He's saying the Iron Sheik what?
He's saying the original Sheik in New Japan, which was not the Iron Sheik.
Not the Iron Sheik.
The original Sheik. They had different characters, different gimmicks in New Japan, and how they would let them do things differently, Like, they would let them perform differently, they would let a lot of blood go,
right.
While in WWE you couldn't do that shit.
Well, those were new rules.
Yeah, they're newer rules, but when Rob Van Dam was in the company, his last run, which was 2014.
Back in my day, the wrestlers held freaking razor blades. They would cut themselves on stage just to be a little bit more...
more tough.
More theatrical.
Yeah. But, so that's the news this week, ladies and gentlemen. There is one other story that I want to address. Apparently, some backstage sources have come forward against Bret the Hitman Hart, refusing to sell for certain legends such as Diesel, The Undertaker, and, according to a certain legend, Roddy Piper. He refused to lose to him. He has refused to lose to Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. In fact, many people actually say that's the reason that Kevin Nash left the company. He left WWE. Was because apparently The Undertaker and him and Bret Hart were in a room. And this was leading up to WrestleMania 12. I don't know if you watched then. WrestleMania 12 was Diesel versus The Undertaker before Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Hulk Hogan went to form the NWO and WCW.
I was just leaving watching. Give me a year.
I believe it would be, so this is WrestleMania 3.
92, 93 would be when I was in college, and
so it would,
I was drunk and stoned a lot.
It would be, I think it would be 96.
Then I was working all the time.
But so, Diesel and Undertaker were having a great feud, and Diesel actually looked at Shawn Michaels and said, well, you took his finish, why won't you take mine? And Bret Hart says, oh, it'll make me look beat. People will think I'll beat. And The Undertaker, who rarely says shit, slams his hand down the table and goes, motherfucker, not everything's about you. This makes our match at Mania bigger. And apparently Bret the Hitman Hart went backstage and said to Vince McMahon, I'm not taking his finish because people will think I was beat.
Alright.
So apparently he did that to Roddy Piper, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Diesel, and a bunch of countless other legends. So it seems like Bret the Hitman Hart might not be everything everyone says he was. What do you think about that, Michael?
I think it's theatrical, and I think it was whoever's going to put butts in the seats was going to be the top guy.
That's a good point.
Bret the Hitman Hart and the Hart Foundation, from when I was watching, I mean, the Hart Foundation was huge. Bret the Hitman Hart lasted generations.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he was pulling people in.
That's true.
So, as much as I respect The Undertaker and everything he's done and will continue to do, Bret the Hitman Hart, I mean, he's a legend.
That's very true. And now let's go into the SmackDown review before we get into a special WrestleMania review. SmackDown kicked off with SmackDown official Sonya Deville in the ring saying she's going to fine Rowdy Ronda Rousey, who came back and won the Royal Rumble, for those of you who don't know, $100,000. And she will be suspended indefinitely due to her actions of attacking WWE official Sonya Deville. WWE official Adam Pearce came out with a message from Chairman Vince McMahon, who we have not seen in a while, saying she cannot do this, and if she does try to do this, she will be fired on the spot. Also, she interferes in the SmackDown Women's Championship match later on that night.
You want to know one thing I wouldn't do?
What?
Fuck with Ronda Rousey.
I think that's a good call. I don't think I'd fuck with Ronda Rousey either.
The woman is just absolutely amazing. Her athletic ability, I would never once even think about.
So
that's what they're doing. I mean, they're fucking with Ronda Rousey.
So Los Lotharios then had a match with the New Day, in which Los Lotharios actually won in a match with Kofi Kingston and Big E. Xavier Woods is unfortunately still on the IR, even though he has not been listed as such. It was an okay match, nothing really that I was looking forward to very happily. After this, we got a little backstage segment with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, attacking the Viking Raiders. I'll go more into this later in my Tuesday review, because I'm just giving people a little diagnosis.
I can't go oos.
Oos! You can't? You can't?
Oos! Oh.
We then got a backstage segment with...
Right? Nice garage! Clear my garage.
We then got a backstage segment with Roman Reigns and Michael Cole. By the way, also in the background, we have WrestleMania 3 playing. We have the Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 3. The Ricky the Dragon Steamboat just won the Intercontinental Championship. I'm sure it brings back memories for you,
What
Michael.
a crappy match that was. George the Animal Steele's carrying Ricky out.
Well, that's because they wrestled for probably the longest match of the night.
Wow.
Look at Animal Steel on that. We'll get into more of that later.
Dude, somebody needs to shave that sweater off.
Well, he was always hairy, even till the day he died. I'll get into that later. In a backstage segment, Michael Cole addressed Roman Reigns' feud with Goldberg, who is back.
Goldberg's back.
Having a Universal Championship feud with Roman Reigns. We then have a Natalya versus Aaliyah match with a dungeon-style match, which was a no submissions, no countouts, only submissions, only pinfalls. No countouts, no disqualifications. Natalya would win that. Nice little match. Xia Li would come in to make the save. I honestly forgot she was still wrestling for WWE. Like, afterwards, we got a Happy Corbin and Cesaro match. Little, again, nothing match. Means nothing.
It always means something.
Drew McIntyre then announced they will have a Falls Count Anywhere match in Saudi Arabia.
Drew McIntyre, I think he's overrated.
Oh, he main evented WrestleMania 36, so it was actually very good at WrestleMania 37.
Yeah, but I think he's still overrated.
Okay.
I don't think he's as good as they're saying he is.
We then got a backstage interview with Goldberg, talking about how he's going to destroy Roman Reigns. And then finally, in your main event, a match that tore the house down, in my opinion. Charlotte Flair versus Naomi. You were talking about her earlier.
Uh-huh.
Bros Clay.
Back when she was the Funkadactyls.
Yep.
Go Cyrus!
They had a great match, and they tore the house down again. I'll be going into it way more in my SmackDown review on Tuesday, but it was actually a very good SmackDown that I really enjoyed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go on to WrestleMania 3. Now, this is where my guest comes into play. My guest, Michael Forrester, grew up watching wrestling at this time, so he can offer in more of a fan's opinion than I could. I was not even a glimmer in my parents' eye yet. This was 1987 in the Pontiac Silverdome.
Michael's old.
I'm older, not as old as you. Old man.
The attendance has been varied from 93,000 to 78,000. It's always been disputed by Dave Meltzer.
It was 98,000. It was packed.
And so, you're looking at it as, again, let's talk about your matches you really remember, like George the Animal Steel, a great match with Macho Man and Randy Savage. Let's talk about that feud that you remember of it, how you felt as a fan watching this live.
So I was actually a big fan of both.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man with his ring attendant Elizabeth. I mean, I was a 14-year-old boy. What's not to love about Elizabeth? But then you had the Macho Man, who's just all in his glory. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was, he was the man. He was the new Bruce Lee in wrestling.
Yeah.
So it was so
different. It was different.
There's such a difference in styles.
Mm-hmm.
And Steamboat was, he was like the quintessential in my eyes back then. He was the ninja. He was very quiet about everything. He just did what he did. And then he's in this match, and he did a fantastic job.
He had the complete opposites going at it, of the quiet guy, and then you have they have Macho Man, who was actually, I think it was Macho King at this point. I don't know if he was Macho King yet. That Macho King gimmick, if you remember WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, no, he wasn't Macho King yet, because I remember that was Macho Man and Randy Savage.
This is the only match where it could have ended in a roll-up and everyone was happy. And nowadays, if you get a roll-up, people are like, oh, that sucks. But this was the only one where you're like, okay, this is a match that could end in a roll-up and you could actually really enjoy it. And the